wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. Happy Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. It is the Monty Show live on YouTube and streaming across your favorite podcast network, coast to coast around the globe. I don't know. Okay, it felt like wide world.
That was really official.
It was amazing. Also amazing is the fact that you need to subscribe to this here show on YouTube, because even though Jake got scammed when he was trying to buy a PlayStation 5 to give away on this very program, we are still going to give away a PlayStation 5 on this very here program. Details of which are pretty simple. Hit subscribe, take a picture of your YouTube channel that you're subscribed, tag us on Twitter with a picture of it, The Monty Show, MONTY, The Monty Show, and of course, SLC Supercars. You have to tag us both. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on Instagram. Well, like literally do it.
Yeah.
On Twitter or Instagram, although that's illegal in several countries and provinces. But the point is, tag us in a photo of your YouTube channel being subscribed, The Monty Show, SLC Supercars, and you're entered to win. Oh, you did that already? All right, cool. You're entered to win. As soon as we get to 750 subscribers on this here very program, we will be giving away an awesome prize pack, a PlayStation 5, no strings attached, as well as one of our elevated clothing line sweatshirts. A lot of people asked yesterday, by the way, Jake, about, hey, where can I support the show and buy clothes, and I'd like to buy your clothes, and that's coming. Monday, we will have a pretty significant
thing
stuff about our clothing line that we're kicking off.
Yeah.
And stuff.
We're like official.
Yeah. So that's Monday on the show. We will be ready to post a link for that. Ricky Martinez, first one in on YouTube this morning, says Warriors greater than Jazz. Last night they were. Gabe Ledley, good morning. I think we have a shirt that's going to be GCU colors. Right?
Yeah.
Gabe Ledley says, morning, my dudes. Let's get that bag today. Don't. Why?
You don't want me to do it?
Just do it. Just get it over with. Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate that. Giggity says, good morning, fellas. Any age limit on the giveaway? My son wants to get in the draw. Well, have your son subscribe to our YouTube channel. And no, there is no age limit. I don't think there's an age limit.
No.
Well, hey, man, no, there's not an age limit. I'm just going to stop right there because I like
your mom are hillbillies.
Exactly right. So just subscribe, tweet at us, The Monty Show, SLC Supercars. Hit us on Instagram, The Monty Show, SLC Supercars, with a photo that you're subscribed, and you are good to go. All right, let's get down to that there business of talking the NBA, because we are in the final week, and it is fascinating. Now, Team No Sleep, which is us two dudes right here,
right? Yeah,
are ultra excited about a must-win for the Blazers and the Jazz tomorrow night at the Vivint. Because we'll be like 13 rows off the floor, center court, because that's how we're
for real
and stuff. It's going to be amazing, and it's must win because I look at what happened in Golden State last night, and I'm a little surprised that the Jazz didn't win this game. Now, coming off of a couple of outstanding performances over the weekend, another great performance out of Bojan Bogdanović last night in San Francisco. Yet you found a way to be down 22 points in this game. You found a way to lose this game, even though you came all the way back, had a lead with, I believe, under a minute left to go. I was quite groggy at the time. But you also found a way to let Jordan Clarkson score 41 points without racking up a single assist. And the main question, and the biggest question that I have about the Utah Jazz, Jake, and I know this is going to sound crazy, is Rudy Gobert a vital piece for the Utah Jazz to win a championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall he is because of where their roster's at, but at the same time, this game last night is a perfect example of how the matchup can dictate Rudy Gobert's ability to have an impact on a game. You guys that listen every day know that we've talked about this at length, where in certain situations against certain teams, Rudy Gobert just doesn't have an impact because, games like last night are track meets where they're getting up and down the floor. They're playing a lot of transition basketball, and it makes it really difficult for Rudy, or really, frankly, any big, to have a true impact on the game. And I think what's so challenging for Rudy is that when you don't really have a jumper, when you don't really have an offensive game, a back-to-the-basket game, when you're primarily a rebounder, a screen setter, and basically just a cleanup guy who outlets, that's going to be really tough for you. So I just think that last night wasn't necessarily, I feel like, an indictment on Rudy outside of the fact that he really does need to develop a jumper. I more felt like last night was just hey, this Warriors team is not going to lay down for anybody. Steph is trying to win an MVP, which I don't think will happen, but he is trying to win an MVP. And very clearly you could tell, and this is a credit to Steve Kerr, you could tell this team was 100% believing that they could win this game the entire night. Like, they were in it mentally. They were ready to go. And that's why I say, we can't get too high off the Denver win. And then all of a sudden the world is ending after last night's loss. It just simply is, hey, here's what happened, and now we're on to Portland, And this Portland game is huge now.
It is huge. And one of the main questions that I have, and I think this is one of those things about Rudy that we talk about on a regular basis, how much of an impact does he have to have game in and game out for the Jazz to win a championship? And I'm going to sit here and tell you it's pretty significant. Are you surprised that he didn't block a shot last night? Are you surprised that he played 31 minutes, but it felt like he was in and out of the game on a regular basis, and it felt like he had no impact on this game for long swaths of it? And are you surprised that Steph Curry was getting multiple layups, that the Warriors were in the paint a good part of the night? And granted, they missed a ton of them, but as a result of Rudy Gobert having to step out and guard perimeter players, the corner three was wide open pretty much all night long for the Golden State Warriors. I'm really surprised that here we are again looking at a team that's pretty much modeled after the Blazers, pretty much modeled after all of these, all the top-end echelon teams in the NBA right now. Shoot threes, they drive and kick. That's a real problem, especially when you're the Jazz, and your kryptonite seems to be young, athletic guards that can shoot the three and get into the paint. Now, Steph Curry may not be young, and he may have struggled from three last night, but I saw chemistry that was built for years win a game, and Rudy Gobert was helpless to do anything about it. And I think that is something to me that when you are a defensive stalwart, and Rudy is, don't get me wrong, I think Rudy's arguably the best defensive player in the league right now.
Yeah.
But his impact is not win or lose for the Jazz. That's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I think it's a perfectly valid point. And I think, whether you want to take the angle of the contract situation, or if you want to just talk about, the way the roster is built and the fact that, the fact that you're not getting a win or lose contribution out of him last night in a game that the Jazz really should have won. I mean, honestly, like, going into this game, you're thinking, okay, we don't have Don and Mike, but this is a game that we feel like we should win. Steph's going to get his, but everybody else we really should be able to handle, and that just wasn't the case. And it almost felt like, in the first quarter, it was very even, but I was sitting there feeling like, man, are the Jazz really here tonight? Are they really kind of like engaged and really in this game the way they were with, let's say, Denver, or any of the other major matchups they've played? Because the fact is, now that you lost this game, now the gap has gotten a little bit tighter. And so let's say that you were to lose to Portland, and the Suns were to beat Golden State. Now all of a sudden things are getting a little bit uncomfortable, whereas just late last week we felt like this was over. So that's why I feel like, against the Dubs, Rudy Gobert, it's not surprising to me that he didn't have an impact. Now tomorrow against the Blazers, I would think that Rudy would have an impact. I would think that he would have a much bigger impact simply because the Blazers are a more traditional team. They have a big, they play a more traditional brand of basketball, so he should be in a much better spot. But last night was just not that was not near what the Jazz should have had.
Well, and I think one of the other parts that you have to consider here, and one of the other conversations you certainly have to bring to light here, is that the Jazz have had their way with the Blazers. I mean, that's a matchup that has typically been favorable. I look at the defense that Royce O'Neal played last night on Steph. He's going to have to play that defense on Dame. And I look at the fact that last night, coming out of that game, you feel really good about the way that Bojan Bogdanovic played again. But it's these continuing themes. Rudy Gobert's impact offensively. You look at Jordan Clarkson. Everybody's going to look at this box score and say, oh, Sixth Man of the Year.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is.
I mean, wow. Thriller from Manila. This guy, headband, Jay. I mean, my God, 41 points and no assists. And I think I would just caution you to temper your excitement about Jordan Clarkson's performance. A, you're not getting that if Don and Conley are there. B, you're not getting that if the Warriors are healthy. And again, we're seeing game after game now where you're running into teams that are missing 3, 4, vital contributors. If you just look at Pascal and, I mean, if you look at the injury list for Golden State, it's incredible. Oubre, Clay, they're missing vital pieces.
Yeah.
And the Jazz could not go to San Francisco and win. That's troubling on its own. Jordan Clarkson cannot shoot this much and in this volume and miss that many threes and score 41 points with 0 assists. The ball stops at Jordan Clarkson. That's something to watch for because this is different than 6-man off the bench. Hey, give me 20 points. We're struggling. This was, I'm just not going to dish the ball. Give me the ball. I'm going to shoot a lot of threes and miss most of them, but I'm going to get to the basket. I'm going to go into the paint.
Yeah.
It's great that Clarkson scored 41, but there were clear opportunities to rotate the basketball that I think he should have taken and didn't.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying that Jordan Clarkson's bad for this team.
Right, yeah.
41 with no assists is not Jazz basketball.
Yeah, I think that it is, that's a great way to put it. And I think, the Warriors broadcast was talking about it last night, earlier in the game in the first half where they were saying, Jordan Clarkson is a 34 or 33% three-point shooter. So, the Warriors are going to let him take some of those. They're happy to let him shoot some of those, and you see it in the box score. And I think, again, bringing this back to how we started this discussion, which is, does Rudy Gobert have a big impact? When Jordan Clarkson's missing all those threes, those are really long rebounds that Rudy or anybody else on the planet is not going to get to. And most of the time, they're going to go to the Warriors, and the Warriors are going to get out and run, and that's what you see. So not only did he not have assists, but missing all of those threes plays right into the hand of Golden State running.
And by the way, how did they not get that last rebound?
Yeah, don't know.
Oh, man, that's frustrating. You look at some of the numbers out of Jordan Clarkson, 16 of 33, 5 of 16 from 3.
Yeah.
7 rebounds, 41 points, minus 17.
Yeah, clearly Quinn is just giving him the ultra bright green light to just shoot as much as possible. And
I'd say so.
While I understand where Quinn is coming from, your two best players are down, you need the offense. At the same time, I agree with you. I don't think it's that you need the offense. This team can score. It is you need to get high percentage looks.
Yes.
And that, to me, is why Jordan Clarkson, as you just said, was a minus 17 last night because all he did was what he always does. And again, I want to make it clear, I'm not, I don't want this to come off as, again, like you were just saying that he's bad for the team, but I think in a game like last night, you got to understand who you're playing. You're not playing a bunch of statues out there. You're playing a team that can get out and run. You're playing a team that, frankly, loves to be in the chaos of the game. They love the situation where it's a 50-50 ball and it winds up in Steph's hands and he knocks down that logo 3,
But look at the last sequence of plays in this game.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the rebound where Kevon Looney beats Rudy Gobert, gets the ball, gives it to Draymond, who just looks at Steph and they know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Little bit of a ball fake. Steph steps up. Dre drops the pass. Steph knocks down a 3.
Yeah.
how does Rudy not get that rebound?
Yeah, and we've seen this.
It's shocking.
This isn't the first time, right? Think about it.
Man.
In the Clipper game in the middle of the season. Go back and you can find this on YouTube. It's very easy. Go find it. The last possession of the game, the Clippers, the Jazz are down by I think one possession, maybe 4 points or so. Maybe it was 2 possessions. Rudy Gobert was in prime position to get a rebound so the Jazz could call a timeout and try to tie the game to go to OT.
Right.
But what happens? Right. He gets out-jumped by Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard then proceeds to get the rebound, and the Jazz have to foul. So you've got it there. You've got it here last night. And so I think what ends up happening to Rudy, just based on what I see, is that those late-game situations, he knows damn well that it's his job to go and get that rebound. But I think that because the paint gets so compacted and everybody collapses, I think he just mentally he just gets lost as to where the ball is. It almost feels like.
And how does Royce O'Neal give Steph? Let Draymond Green shoot that three.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving? Like Steph Curry is wide open on that three he hit. And by the way, to the Jordan Clarkson point, and I see everybody piling into the comments. I'll be right there. To the Jordan Clarkson point, look at the last shot of the game. Mm-hmm. It's an impossible look the corner, falling out of bounds, fading into the corner. Like, it's an awful shot.
Yeah, it's desperation. And they shouldn't have been there.
Again, I'm just asking, where's Bojan Bogdanovic in that moment? This is your best player.
It's not who he is.
But see, and I think that's where we'll disagree. I have no idea if that's who it is. I know he's hit game-winning shots in the past. Last season, he hit game-winning shots. He was nails, absolutely nails on Friday night.
Listen, he is not. So there's different situations with game-winning shots.
Yes.
So last night's potential game-winning shot for Clarkson was what I like to call hero ball-esque shot out of the corner. Bojan Bogdanovic is never going to be in that situation. He's not nearly athletic enough to take that shot. That's not the position he'll ever be in. However, I look back against, I want to say it was against Toronto last year when he hit what was a monster three-point shot to end that game.
Yes.
And that ball came to him. He happened to be standing there, and it came to him, and he threw that ball up. And so that's why I say he's not the guy. You don't want to give him the last shot one-on-one and ask him to do something with it. But if it's a 50-50 ball and he finds himself open on the wing or the corner, yeah, I want him taking that shot. He'll knock that shot down for sure.
I would rather have, and this is just my opinion, on a night where Jordan Clarkson struggled to shoot the three, I'd rather have Bojan Bogdanovic take that shot. I'd rather have Bojan be the guy falling away into the corner to take that shot. He's your best player going.
Is it fair to say, though, that Jordan Clarkson struggled last night? Because he did come off the bench, and I think this kind of caters to the expectations conversation with Jordan Clarkson. Like, the expectation isn't that Jordan Clarkson is going to come in and facilitate for you. His job is very simple. It's score the basketball.
That's
right?
it.
And so it's kind of this thing where, like, last night he puts up 41, so we're sitting here saying, hey, we would rather have, Bogey take that shot, but at the same time, Clarkson had 41. So
right, but your role changes based on the situation for the team. Mm-hmm. And without Don and Conley, I think Clarkson has to reverse the basketball occasionally.
Yeah.
You cannot be a black hole who doesn't pass the ball. It is this whole thing. And again, I'll just go back to Bojan hitting that game winner. You said Toronto. I actually think it was against Houston, the one I'm thinking of.
Was it Houston?
I think it was. But my point is, not to be redundant, he's your best fucking player. Like, Bojan Bogdanovic is what is going well for you right now.
I agree with that.
Because Joe Ingles, God bless him, Joe has been a zero. He is, as a starter, Joe Ingles is far less impactful on the game. And he is the one, in my opinion, that has been most negatively impacted by Don and Conley being out. And I think it's something that you really have to keep an eye on. Jordan Clarkson, to me, I think struggled because you have young, aggressive guards on Golden State who are pushing out to the line. He didn't have many open looks. He had a lot of contested threes. And I think Jordan just wants nothing more than to score.
Yeah.
And he's being, again, when you let a dog off the leash, it's awfully difficult to tell him not to run, right? And I think what you've done here is you said to Jordan, go score. And it's going to be hard for him to reverse that. Let's get some of the comments here on YouTube because you guys have been amazing. By the way, if you're watching this video right now, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure you subscribe. We are going to be giving away a PlayStation 5 and you'll be the first one to have our sweatshirt, our proprietary sweatshirt from our clothing brand. All of that when we get to 750 subscribers, so make sure that you subscribe now. Felipe Berlinick.
That's a new one.
Well, last week I told you we shouldn't clinch number 1 seed because we would play the Warriors and Blazers. You guys said not to give credit to the Warriors. I think the Warriors aren't how do I say this? Last night is probably not going to back me up at all on this.
Right.
The Utah Jazz are better than the Golden State Warriors.
No doubt.
In a 7-game series where the Jazz have home court advantage, not many games are going to play out the way they played last night.
Yeah.
If Don and Conley are healthy, regardless of who Golden State runs out, the Jazz are winning that series. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with the LA Lakers. Nothing. Nada, zip, zero, zilch.
Yeah.
Do I want anything? If you're a Jazz fan, and I would not be courting the LA Lakers in the first round.
No,
I would not do that.
I think you want to push them off as far as possible, and hopefully you don't see them until the Western Conference Finals.
That's right.
Hopefully that's what happens.
Gabe Levely says death, taxes, and the Jazz win at the Viv. That's exactly
pretty
right.
much.
Lewis Selders. Good morning to you. Tough loss yesterday. I still believe. Take note. You should believe. I mean, the Utah Jazz, when they are fully healthy, and I don't know that they'll be fully healthy. I'm a little surprised, frankly, that Don is still out. I mean, I don't know that he's going to play a game in the regular season now. It would appear that he would not.
Yep.
When's Mike Conley come back? I don't know. I think without Conley and Don, Blazers are an awfully difficult matchup.
Yeah.
So, Lewis, I think you should believe. Absolutely. Brandon Whitesides, hopefully Don and Conley sitting didn't get us set for another first-round exit versus them playing us clinching the number 1 seed. Well, let's be honest, there's not an easy out here. I mean, if you wind up against the Blazers, I think you're in better shape. The Jazz have pretty easily handled the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, the Blazers, because the Blazers, frankly, are a team that just, they can be handled. I mean, it just is that simple. So, I mean, there are ways to beat them, and I think the problem is like with the Lakers or the Clippers, those teams are so flexible, especially when LeBron comes back here today. Those teams have so much flexibility in the way they can go about playing the game that I think that they can challenge you in ways that you're not often challenged, which is what makes them so difficult.
Yeah, and I think, don't get me wrong, I think Damon and CJ and Nurk, I mean, that's a pretty formidable lineup. The Jazz are better.
Yeah.
And, again, I think some of the talking points on this Jazz team right now, how do you keep this Bojan Bogdanovic, well, frankly, this Bojan Bogdanovic, like, how do you keep him scoring? How do you keep him attacking? How do you keep him confidently ripping threes? Like, you've got to figure that out when they're fully healthy.
Bojan.
Yeah, like, I mean, he can't go back to Bojan. He's got to be Bojan.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to how they do that because I look at the Blazers. This is not the same Blazer team you've had your way with because let's not forget that they replaced Gary Trent Jr. with Norman Powell. And I think that's a significant upgrade for them. I am curious about, if I look at like Nurkic's numbers, I mean, Nurkic is a nice player. Rudy Gobert is a better player than Nurkic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Rudy should win that matchup. And a lot of it is that, really Nurkic isn't a guy that you have to worry about stepping out and shooting threes. That's never been his game. That's never going to be his game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it gives Rudy an out. Now, having said that, when the Blazers go small and they play Carmelo at the 5, now I think you're in trouble if you're the Jazz because you're going to have to play Favors. And I think that's one of the other things. I'm glad that I brought that up because I'm pretty awesome and stuff. I see a Derek Favors that's not having the impact that he had been having.
Yeah.
A month ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're late in the year. I mean, it's not surprising that a guy who's at the point in his career that Favors is at is a bit tired. Is probably feeling the rigors of the NBA season.
Yep.
And I think that that's just a natural process that plays out. And I think that, again, this is why, you Not that I think that they will lose the 1 seed, because I really, truly,
They
I don't
They're not
believe that.
going to.
Yeah,
It's over.
but I think that this is why.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard you say it was
It's
over.
over.
Yeah, I know.
We had a thumbnail last week that pronounced them champions of the West. Mm-hmm. It's over.
If you ain't first, you're last.
It's over, right?
Yeah,
It's okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Anyway, it's over. Mm-hmm. My question is, what does this team look like without Don against the Blazers? And, now you have Enes Kanter, affectionately known as Penis Kanter, who is battling President Erdogan in Turkey. Did you hear this? This asshole in Turkey is suing Enes Kanter.
For what?
Because Enes Kanter has spoken harshly against the government.
I'm gonna get medieval on your ass.
So you're going to sue him? Good luck. It's just trying to make life difficult for Enes Kanter.
Yeah.
But my point is that if you look at this team and you look at the way that they've played, and you look at all the different ways that the Blazers can currently score, I think this is going to be a very difficult game tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's why I say. They have a lot of ways that they can score, but I also think that, like we were just talking about with Rudy, I think his presence in this game will be felt much more than it was last night. I think, when you have a traditional big and Nurk playing the 5, that's a head-to-head matchup with Rudy, and I agree with you too that I do think that if the Blazers were to get down, let's say they got down 10 or 15 tomorrow night early in the game, Blazers are behind by double digits, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go small and get out and run, because I think people have seen that the Jazz really struggle with that setup. So that's why I say, the Jazz have to figure out, what is our answer to teams going small? Because leaving Rudy in there just to play the paint doesn't really work, mainly because he's getting beat to the other end of the floor. And again, it's not a criticism of Rudy. Any big in his position with that style of play would get beat to the other end. So you as a team have to figure out what you're going to do about that.
I think you are going to see Carmelo and Covington and Powell and Lillard and McCallum and Kanter a lot more than you're going to see Nurkic in this game.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at it, it's a must-win game for both, I think.
Yeah.
If you're the Jazz, you do not want to lose 2 in a row. I would assume the Suns will beat the Warriors tonight, who are on a back-to-back against a very good Jazz team. It took a lot of energy to win that game.
Yeah.
I would assume that that's going to be the case. But are the Lakers better with LeBron James right now? This feels like a real important moment in time for LeBron and the Lakers. And for those of you who don't know, LeBron is coming back from this injury. He admittedly came back too early. It was ugly. He's missed the last few games, including the Blazer loss. And now all of a sudden, what do you have? You have a guy in LeBron that all of a sudden is pronounced ready to play after Anthony Davis has one of the best games of his career and looks like he is fully healthy and back in swing. Why not leave LeBron on the pine? And this is just a little surprising to me. I think that this is a bit too soon, because I think the Lakers are better without this version of LeBron James right now.
Yeah, well, I think the thing for LeBron is the Lakers are better without the 50% LeBron James. Like the LeBron that came back and turned it over and just couldn't do what he normally does. They're better without him. But I think that if it is indeed true what they're saying, and again, it's all hearsay. We don't know for a fact that it's true. But if it is true that he has his explosion back, that he can cut and he can operate and he can feel normal, then I do think they're a better team when he comes back. But again, that's provided that he is the LeBron James that we all know and love. If we get this 50% turning the ball over, I'm really rusty LeBron James. Then,
but how else would he be? He has been out of game action for a long time.
Yeah, well, this is one of the longest breaks he's taken in his career. He has been one of the things that is so covered in his career is the fact that he's been an incredibly durable player, and we've been telling you for a while now that Father Time will catch up to him eventually.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, man. Eventually it catches up to you. So, I will be really curious to see what he looks like. I mean, is he going to get 30 minutes? Is he going to get 20 minutes? I think the Lakers' biggest fear right now is they're going to find themselves in the middle. And what I mean is you're going to bring LeBron back, and he's going to be like 85%. He'll be healthy, he'll be good, but he'll be really rusty. And so he won't be able to operate at 100% unless he plays these last 3-4 games that they have left on the schedule and he can get back into game shape. That's why I think they're bringing him back.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think the Lakers are probably better without him. Ace says, you rolled your eyes on Twitter at a member of the Jazz media calling a foul on Jordan Clarkson. Okay. So we have had long debates on this show, Ace, about the Jazz complaining to the officials. The Jazz the other day essentially said we're going to stop doing that. And Rudy, to his credit, last night didn't do it much. So the media took up for them. There was a play at the end where Clarkson went to the basket. There was contact, but there was no foul called. Mm-hmm. And immediately, media members, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but media members that cover the Jazz thought that, somebody's dog had been kicked and it was personal and this game has favored the Warriors. It couldn't be further from the truth. They called it right down the middle. The free throw numbers are I think they're actually identical. Fouls called are identical. In my opinion, there were a bunch of calls in the last 2 minutes that were not made. The Clarkson call was not egregious. And, I think this whole thing with Jazz against the officials has got to stop. I mean, it gets to a point where all you're doing, we were watching the game in 4K, I don't know, a month ago now.
Yeah.
We're watching the game in 4K, and on 4K they don't go to commercial. When the regular broadcast goes to commercial, it's a wide shot of the floor. And there were 4 Jazz men, including Quinn Snyder, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Rudy Gobert, and I think the other guy was Joe Ingles.
Yeah. All
talking to officials. And then we go to the game a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who that was against. But
Raptors.
The Raptor game. During a timeout, you have Joe, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Rudy Gobert passionately complaining to the officials.
Each official. All 3 of them.
What are we doing?
And he will every single time.
There are calls that are made that you're not going to agree with. But are you going to be Luka Doncic and whine like a little opinion in and put yourself in a position where the officials are staring right at you? Now, to his credit last night, you could see multiple occasions because Rudy's first instinct is, I'm perfect, I don't make mistakes, how dare you call a foul on me?
How the fuck else would you do this job?
That's Rudy's first reaction every time there's a foul called. And to his credit last night, he didn't do that. And what you're seeing is the teams that are doing that, the Dallas Mavericks, last night, you saw Draymond Green, who has evolved as a technical foul master. He gets a technical last night and very easily could have gotten ejected from that game.
Yeah.
But instead said his piece, got his technical, and then the officials spoke directly to him. And he calmed down and he walked away. Clarkson missed the technical foul free throw, and you never heard from Draymond again. Never complained again. The Jazz and their media members have to stop complaining about the officials. It's not why you're losing games.
Yeah, it's always been the whole idea of, oh my God, the officials, lost us this game, to me has always been a small-minded thought. Like you're sitting here saying, oh my God, the officials took this away and that away, and it's so unbalanced. And in my opinion, is just very simple, which is, hey, the officials never win or lose you the game.
Correct.
It's like, why was it that, Michael was in a position to hit the game-winning shot that everybody called a push-off? Well, he was in that position because you didn't execute to the best of your ability earlier in the game. And so he never would have been there if you'd have done a better job throughout the game, which is what I always say, whether it's in the NFL, Major League Baseball, any sport, the officials don't, if you're in a position for the officials to make a call like that, you've done something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the comments, like Spida Cheetah, I appreciate you being here. I do think Gobert is really important to the Jazz. if we ever face the Lakers, expect O'Neal to guard AD and Gobert to guard LeBron.
Bro, no.
No. That's not going to happen. The matchup is going to be Gobert versus Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
And I would agree that they will be creative, but you're going to have to use probably Ingles on LeBron at some point. O'Neal, like it's going to be rotational.
Yeah.
The Lakers are a matchup nightmare for the Jazz. Just
for any team.
I mean, just stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want the Lakers. Trust me. John Mulvaney. Good morning to you. John Mulvanian, good morning to you. He says P. Cantor, exactly. Illert Gnurk, good morning. Is Clarkson the lock for sixth man of the year, though? Absolutely. Yeah. That's done.
Yeah.
Mulvanian also says, I think if Snyder figures out when to give Clarkson the green light without question versus playing more facilitator, then the Jazz can win these comeback games. Close games are a weakness in coaching games. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think the Jazz are not ideally built to come back and win games. Mm-hmm. They're ideally built to play with the lead.
Yeah.
And that's why the third quarter is so vital, because their first quarter starts have been terrible. And I think last night was the first time we saw really in a critical moment where the third quarter, they were just not very good.
Yeah.
Which was a little surprising. Stanek Daniel says, we do not love... Wow, there was a bunch of comments that loaded. Sorry. Stanek Daniel says, we do not love LeBron James. He's a woke idiot. Okay. Illert Gnurk says, it doesn't matter. We will play Mitchell more and remove this Clarkson black hole. Yes. Best Nightmare says black hole. Correct. James Knight says Clarkson was clearly fouled on the last drive, period. It's only a ticket if you get, if there's a cop there, over. Right? I mean, he didn't call foul. Stanek Daniel says refs are biased and terrible. Don't disagree. Axel Granzini says the Utah Warriors game was too close from the start. When the Jazz complain about the refs, I know it's because the game was too close.
Yeah.
Shelter 1988, good to meet you, says Clarkson is the reason why they got back, so don't be unfair to blame him. I'm not saying that Jordan Clarkson's 41 were meaningless. I'm saying that there were times where he missed clear rotations and took heavily contested threes, where the one, he missed the rim completely. When you had Bogdanovich on a reversal, who's your best player. And this is, I guess, the point that I'm trying to make with Clarkson. You can't have 0 assists out of Jordan Clarkson when Bojan Bogdanovich is wide open on the reverse, and he's your best. Bojan Bogdanovich is your best player.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
He is your best offensive weapon. Period. He is the guy that took you to Denver or took you to a win against Denver, and now all of a sudden you're not going to reverse him. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Jordan Clarkson shooting. I have a problem with him shooting too much. 41 points and 0 assists is not okay in any basketball world from a guard. Now, if you're Rudy Gobert and you give me 41 and 20 and you have no assists, hey, here we go.
Hey, your name suddenly isn't Rudy, it's Joel Embiid. What do you know?
There's three initials behind your name and it's MVP, right? But my point is that's not what this team needs from Jordan Clarkson to win. They need 35 and a couple reversals to Bojan Bogdanovich or Joe Ingles. You've got it, frankly, again, you got to get Joe Ingles going. He's too important.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's because he's starting and he's having to work a lot harder. And the looks are not there because there's no reversal. There's no ball movement. It just is symptomatic of why these games are closer than they should be. Frankly, they probably should have doused Denver by 15. Linking back on that game, it is what it is. I mean, do you want a contribution out of, George Niang or Joe Ingles?
Well, you're
not going to get both.
I would love to see this team do what the Warriors did last night, which is I'd love to see. Let Niang have 10, let Joe have 15 or 20, let Bogey have his 30. I'd love to see balance through the 8 or 9 that you play.
Absolutely.
That's what you're looking for. I mean, that's why it's not a criticism of Clarkson. I mean, he had a hell of a night, no question, but you notice the plus minus is minus 17. There's a reason for that.
Yep.
And so, when you get balanced scoring, oftentimes you're going to win the game in a much easier and more efficient fashion.
All I'm asking for is a reversal 1 out of every 5. Instead of taking half a dozen contested threes, Cut that in half and reverse the basketball 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why when we talk about the Jazz not adding like Mike James as an example, this is where Mike James is a bit more versatile player versus Jordan Clarkson.
You win this game if Mike James is on your team.
Probably, yeah.
It was that. How many possessions decided this game? 3, 4?
Yeah,
max.
Handful, yeah.
Max. I mean, Royce O'Neal going to sleep on that last Steph 3 decides the game. The rebound that Rudy didn't get decides the game.
Mm-hmm. It's a small details that matter.
Yeah, bad shot selection, lapses on defense. That's why you lost this game. There's no doubt about that. Stanek, man, you need to take less caffeine, my brother. He says Lakers are a nightmare for the Jazz. Question. Is this a joke? What do you mean? Is this a joke,
bro? What?
I don't think there's anybody in Jazz universe who wants the Lakers in the first round. And if you want the Lakers in the first round, I would just caution you to watch what you wish for.
By the way, if they see the Lakers in the first round, that's after an ass kicking of all these bad teams that they're about to see.
Yeah,
so.
I'm telling you right now, the Jazz do not match up well with the Lakers in any way, shape, or form. The Lakers have gone so long without AD and LeBron that you're seeing, again, Caruso, Cantavius Caldwell-Pope, Kuzma, Morris, Andre Drummond added. You're looking at them. They've been on the rise. Their depth has been on the rise. And now that AD's back, it's not coincidental that he's back in rhythm and he's carrying them. So, okay, well, let's vet this out a little bit. Who's guarding Anthony Davis? I mean, I would guess
the team, all 5 guys.
Yeah, I would guess you're going to play a matchup zone. I would guess you're going to see some Ingles. I would guess you're going to see some Bogey. I don't think you're going to see Royce because if you put Royce on AD, now it just goes straight downhill. Like, okay, cool. Who's going to guard Andre Drummond? Well, that's Rudy Gobert. Where does Andre Drummond typically play? Right at the free throw line. And if he's at the free throw line knocking down his jumper, which Andre Drummond does, where's Rudy Gobert going to be? Well, Rudy Gobert's not going to be guarding the rim. And then what happens with Kuzma and Caruso and Cantavius?
And some guy named LeBron James who we've never heard of.
And we haven't even gotten to LeBron James yet. What's going to happen, and thank you for stealing my thunder, but you're going to have guards attacking the rim now, right? So what do the Lakers do? They spot guys up in the corner, right? And you can look up and down their roster and you can tell me, oh, the Lakers suck. Okay, well, I'm just saying, I'm just going to look at the Suns game. Okay? The number 2 team in the West, the Lakers suck. Let's go with Stanek's belief here that the Lakers are not a matchup nightmare. I would just ask you, Anthony Davis, 42, Cantavius, 17 on 4 of 9 from 3, Caruso, 17 on only 1 3-pointer, 1 of 3, and he scores 17 points. I would encourage you to look at Montrezl Harrell, 15 points or 15 minutes and 12 points. I would encourage you to look at Ben McLemore, who played 22 minutes and went 4 of 7 from 3. And Ben McLemore has one job. Do you know what that one job is? To stand on the perimeter and shoot threes. And what's he doing? Making them at a high clip. The Lakers are doing all of this without a healthy LeBron James. So now give me 2 weeks, because that's essentially if the Lakers go through the play-in tournament, and let's surmise that they win, they get the 8th seed, Jazz have the 1 seed. Now all of a sudden you give me 2 weeks, LeBron's probably played 3 games. So LeBron's back in the swing. So now we've got Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James as your core 3, right? Not one of them is an easy matchup for the Utah Jazz defensively. By the way, then I'm going to throw in a guy like a Morris or a Kuzma, who, mind you, how did they do against the Suns? Oh, that's right. The Lakers beat the Suns without Morris and Kuzma. Neither one of them played.
Yeah.
And they scored 123 points against one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. So go ahead and explain to me again how the Lakers are not a matchup nightmare for the Utah Jazz.
And then Dennis Schroeder as well. I mean, that's
oh my God. The forgotten hero, Dennis Schroeder, is not playing. He's in COVID protocol.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to come back too.
My guy. with all due respect, I mean, we can.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Only refs can save the. Okay,
Here we go.
Stanek, I love you, man, but it is what it is. John Mulvaney says LeBron is a dual issue. One, the ankle, yes, but two, he has Jordan Clarkson issues. Very impressed with Caruso. Great teamwork with one superstar. Exactly right. And you want to talk about injured teams. Again, I would say, look at the teams that we're seeing. The Jazz, massive injury issues. The Warriors, the Lakers. You just go down the list in the West, there's only a couple of healthy teams.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's injured at this point. Dvorin Ruzjin Slobninkian.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Why is good to delay Lakers? Maybe it's better to play them before they are all in. Yes. Shelter 1988. Despite this, I think the Jazz will go all the way. This is their year. Okay. Percentage the Jazz win an NBA championship.
How is that even possible?
Throw it in the comments. Percentage the Jazz win an NBA championship. I'm gonna go 25%.
Man. I was thinking a lot more than that.
You were?
Yeah, I was thinking like 40s.
Okay. So here's my issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe I'm underselling the Jazz. I don't know. Who's better than the Jazz in the West right now?
Well, it's not. So, I mean, I don't like to look at it that way, but I think teams that could beat the Jazz, obviously the Suns, the Lakers. I mean, all these teams can beat the Jazz. But here's the thing, and I feel like this is where you have to be at as a Jazz fan. The Jazz control their destiny here, right? The only true team that they really have issues with is the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are specifically built to give every team issues. So
Yes.
So if you're the Jazz, to beat the Lakers, you're going to have to shoot 40+% from three over a 7-game series to win that matchup. That's the scary part with the Lakers. Now, let's assume you do beat the Lakers and you move on. I like your odds against the Clippers. I like your odds against the Suns. Now, getting to the finals and playing what presumably will be the Nets, not sure how I feel about that. That remains to be seen. But I truly think that the Lakers are the biggest challenge. I think you can handle the Clippers. I think you can handle the Suns over the course of a 7-game series. So that's why I say I put it in the 40s because I think, I'm just assuming the Lakers are indeed going to be the 8th seed, and that's who they're going to see first. If they lose to the Lakers in the first round, if you're a Jazz fan, I don't even know what you say. I really don't know what you say or where you go because at that point, you've done all this great stuff. You've got Clarkson winning 6th Man of the Year and Rudy's winning Defensive Player of the Year. You've got all these individual awards, but you can't get over the hump as a team. So where do you go?
Yeah, Mr. Mitch makes an interesting point. You guys talk all day long about matchup nightmares. You've been talking all season long about guards penetrating, yet you're not talking about the Suns being a legitimate threat to the Lakers. Well, because I don't think the Suns, and here's my question about the Suns. Suns v. Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not big enough if you're the Suns. That, again, I will just say the Lakers are a matchup problem for everybody when they're fully equipped, as are the Jazz. The Jazz uniquely have trouble with guards that attack the paint and teams that have bigs who can shoot.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that, certainly with the Lakers. The Clippers are interesting because they switch everything and they pick and roll a lot. Zubats is not necessarily somebody you worry about.
Right.
But Marcus Morris is shooting at an incredibly high level right now. I think there's matchup problems abound. The Achilles heel for the Utah Jazz is that they struggle with athletic guards who can do two things. One, on the defensive end, they push out to the three and contest threes. We've seen Bogey struggle with that last night. I think we saw Poole and Draymond absolutely knocking Bogey off of the three-point line.
Yeah.
Would not give him clean looks, moved his feet, and wound up having to pass the ball. And at one point, he had back-to-back, I think it was back-to-back possessions where it was a 24-second violation. That gives the Jazz problems. And when Rudy is pulled away from the basket defensively, I think it's a major thing. I just it is what it is. Forgotten Souls says 42.069 chance of winning a championship. Okay. Shelter 88 says fair assessment. Thank you. Illert Gnurk says it depends on whose Mitchell will show up. That's true. Illert, he also says because Mitchell will hero ball the shit out of it. Exactly. Fibbo the Man 1 says Lakers do not suck, but Lakers are going to have difficult time with Utah. If the Lakers are going to go with two bigs, I don't see them guarding Utah's four players outside of the three-point line. Well, I think your bigs, I think you're going to see AD, Drummond, and LeBron on the floor together.
Yeah.
You're going to see that. That's their best defensive unit because all three of those guys, like, I would assume that you would put Drummond on Rudy.
Yeah.
Right? AD can absolutely push out to the three-point line, and Bojan Bogdanovic is not quick enough to go by him. So I would guess that AD would wind up on Bojan Bogdanovic, and I think LeBron is a really good defensive player.
Yeah.
By the way, if Dennis Schroeder's in there, I think he's guarding Conley. The Donovan Mitchell matchup, I think you're going to wind up mixing and matching that. I think Don's probably a tough matchup for LeBron.
Yeah.
I think Don's a tough matchup for everybody. I think the Lakers are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and I think they would be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
Without question. I don't know. The Mick says, man, another show, another lack of credit for the Jazz.
Here we go.
All about shining the Lakers. Like, okay, so how have we not given the Jazz credit? I think we've given the Jazz a lot of credit.
I would love to hear, like, don't just come in here and say, oh, well, you guys just give the Lakers a bunch of credit and that's that. Like, come in here and tell me, like, have you listened to the whole show? Have you been listening to the shows this week or last week? This is what I always say to people who do this. Don't just come into the comments and say, oh, well, you guys do this and you do that. Give me examples. Tell me how exactly today on this here show we haven't given Jordan Clarkson credit for being Sixth Man of the Year. We haven't given Rudy Gobert credit for being Defensive Player of the Year. Tell me exactly how we didn't criticize this team last night for not feeding Bogey more when he's been on fire. So I'm just struggling to understand how we didn't give the Jazz credit. Like, I'd love to hear examples of that.
Yeah. And by the way, Forgotten Souls makes a good point. Now it's you don't give the Jazz credit guy.
First it was we don't watch games.
Watch Jazz games.
Yeah, first it was we don't watch Jazz games. Now it's we don't give them credit. And, I'm sure tomorrow it's going to be, oh, well, you guys don't know anything about basketball, guys. So,
okay, which is fine. By the way, Mike says, I think you guys are spot on. Best Jazz podcast. Well, and appreciate that. Because James Knight also says, hey, didn't you utter the Nugs would beat the Jazz by double digits? Oh, yeah, I said the Nuggets would beat the Jazz by 21.
And by the way, go back and listen to the show yesterday. We talked about exactly how that game played out and how we were really surprised about some of the things that the Nuggets did and really, frankly, didn't do.
Yeah, that was a shocking performance out of the Jazz. Like, that was elite basketball. And injuries, a lot of Nuggets fans yesterday commented on YouTube about the injuries. Injuries don't matter.
Yeah.
Because the Jazz are without their two best players. And if you look, yes, I agree that the Nuggets are lacking guards right now. All their guards and best defenders are hurt. Doesn't matter. Everybody's got injuries, and the Jazz found a way to get a 48-point performance out of Bojan Bogdanovic. Mm-hmm. It was a sensational win. There's no shrouding that or spinning that. The Jazz were the better team on Friday night against the Nuggets. There's no doubt about that. Forgotten Soul says, I believe the Jazz were going to lose that game as well. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
I think everybody did.
I don't think anybody saw 48 coming from Bogdanovic, and I also don't think that anybody saw Nikola Jokic sitting for as long as he did and, like, some of the other things that, like, went on in this game. And so I think that it's not to take any credit away from the Jazz. They played a hell of a basketball game. And by the way, I'd also like to point out, if you haven't been to a Jazz game this year, you might want to try to get to one before the season's over because even though it's not full capacity, that crowd gets it going, in that arena.
Yeah, if you can find playoff tickets, I would highly encourage you to go. The games we've been to this year, and again, we're going to the Blazer game tomorrow night, it is, the atmosphere is fantastic. It is, I'm telling you, it's the best home court advantage in the NBA. There's not a better home court advantage in the NBA than that building. I mean, with the altitude and the fans, the volume, it just is. It's fantastic. I mean, it really, really is fantastic. Couple other NBA things. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
This is something that you've never wavered on this. You're not a Russell Westbrook guy.
Mm-hmm.
Russ last night sets the record for career triple-doubles, bumping Oscar Robertson off of that plateau. He's had multiple triple-doubles against every NBA franchise. Russ is never going to be the most popular player.
Right.
But there is no doubt in my mind that he is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
But is Russell Westbrook one of the best players of all time?
No, I don't think he's one of the best players of all time, and that's really the only thing I hold against him. I mean, I think, Russell Westbrook has been I've been able to watch his entire career, even since UCLA. Like, I've been able to watch him since those days, and I think that he's a hell of a player. I mean, my issue just comes in when I talk about, winning at the highest levels, championships, postseason moments, those kind of things. I think he hasn't been successful on that side of his career. But overall, I mean, the idea that you now lead the NBA in triple doubles, that you are, I think it's fair to say that he transcended the point guard position in the NBA just the same way that Steph Curry transcended the position. I mean, you're talking about a guy here who is bigger than every point guard in the league, can dunk, can shoot, can pass, can handle, can do everything. Now, he doesn't do any of those things as good as maybe some other players, but because he can do them all and he's strong, it makes him a unique player. So, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. He absolutely is a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's one of the best players of all time.
And Conrad says, my hate of Russell Westbrook will never allow me to utter those words. I think that's part of this. I think the fact that Russell Westbrook is just so damn unlikable will color the way people view him. Mm-hmm. It will influence their opinions because he is just not a likable guy.
Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain because you're a douche.
Right? Like, I mean, he is here in Utah. He's absolutely, incited fans, and he called Ben Napoleon Wilson the N-word. Like, I mean, it is.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, he said that ends tripping. I'm out, man. And he's had infamous moments, but he also couldn't get along with KD and Harden in OKC. Mm-hmm. Then he couldn't get along with Harden in Houston. Mm-hmm. Now he's with Bradley Beal, who pretends to love him in Washington.
Pretends.
But I mean, he is a. You think Jordan Clarkson shoots a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, part of the narrative on Russell Westbrook is, bro, when did you start being a bricklayer?
Yeah.
He is a mason. This guy builds brick walls with his shots. This guy, he used to be a knockdown shooter.
Yeah.
And he's not the guy I want shooting for me.
Yeah.
He just is not, he's not, I'm so torn on this.
Yeah.
He's not one of the best point guards ever.
No, I guess not.
He's not the best point guard of his generation. That's the guy in Golden State.
Yeah.
In my opinion. In Steph, I mean, what comparisons? Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook?
I would take Chris Paul.
You would take Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris Paul's known for not winning.
Yeah, well,
right?
Until this year.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, he's not, I would say in Houston.
Yeah. I mean, he got hurt
until
in
he dropped his groin on the floor.
I don't think that I don't think that. I mean, yeah, I guess he's known for not winning, but at the same time, I think the Houston thing was just that he had gotten hurt. And so I think the reason I take Chris Paul over Russell Westbrook is because I think Chris Paul is better for your team. I think he's more of a floor general. I think he develops other players better. I think he just does more for you. And now, all those people out there that are going to say, well, Russell Westbrook puts up bigger numbers. Well, that might be true, but he's also shown not to be a great, locker room guy. So it's just kind of this trade-off.
Boy, this is interesting. Jeremy Bolton says, I don't know how I feel about Russell Westbrook and his triple-double thing. I mean, that's a crazy stat, but to what end? Yeah, and that's my point. The triple-doubles are one thing. Like, Oscar Robertson won a championship. Russell is not. He's on one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they've played much better recently, but he's on one of the worst teams in the NBA. Forgotten Soul says that if he had 4 rings, he'd be in the conversation or top 15 of all time. Yeah, he probably would.
Yeah, but candies and nuts, dude. I mean, this is what we say about LeBron. I mean, LeBron's got 4 now, right? He's got 4?
Something like that. He's got 4.
I think he's got 4 now after the bubble. And people are still saying, oh, well, he's not.
But he's lost. I mean, he's got 4 championships, but hasn't he been to 31 NBA finals?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
but like, there's
win more than you
greatness in
lose.
that too.
There is.
So I don't know. It's just this whole thing is tough, man. It's really tough.
Swiderski says triple double machine, but hothead, no IQ basketball. Truth.
Yeah.
James Knight says Russell Westbrook, I hate your triple doubles more than ever. Okay. Swiderski says Randall really a most improved player without a question.
Yeah.
SLCP shooter, welcome to you.
Yeah. Hey, subscribe by the way.
If you told me 40% chance of a championship at the beginning of the year, I'd take it all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, is 40% too high?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think there are 2 teams that they really have issues with, and that's Los Angeles Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. Those 2 teams will give this Jazz team a bunch of issues.
Yeah.
If you lose to the Suns, if you lose to the Clippers, if you lose to the Nuggets, there's no excuse. You just didn't do a good enough job.
Yeah. Max says everybody loves to shine Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. He's old and it's showing.
Is it though?
He's looked slow. I mean, he has looked. I'm not going to say that he's out of gas. But that's a guy who's looking forward to a week off. I mean, that's a guy who's
not looking forward to a week off. I mean, come on, guy.
He looks particularly.
I'd rather have Chris Paul than Mike Conley, dude.
As John Mulvaney said, CP3 looked tired in the Laker loss. Cameron Payne's a very important player. I would agree with that. Cameron Payne, the backup guard in Phoenix.
Dude, can you guys honestly sit here and tell me that you would rather have Mike Conley over Chris Paul then? Can you seriously tell me that?
Why do you have to bring up Mike Conley?
Because if we're gonna sit here and say that Chris Paul's tired, well, at least his ass is playing basketball, dude. Like, with Russell Westbrook, my issue is that the reason I don't want Russell Westbrook on my team at any time is because even if I give him the best talent in the world, Kevin Durant is, in my opinion, if he is not the best scorer the game has ever seen, like ever, he's certainly the best scorer the league has right now. You had that guy for like 6 seasons.
You had Westbrook, Harden, and KD in OKC.
And you ruined it. You blew it up. So, no, I don't want that. I don't want locker room issues. This is why I have issues with Kyrie. Kyrie can score. Kyrie's got an amazing handle. He's definitely one of the best point guards the league's ever had. The problem is that he's a nutcase. He's crazy.
I think, Mike Conley, I just don't think you can count on Mike Conley. I always say your best ability is your availability. I want guys who play every night, and that's Chris Paul.
And by the way, I would say
that
Chris Paul has a major clutch gene in him, too. I mean, he has no problem hitting a bunch of shots at the end of the game to close.
And he's an elite mid-range player.
Yeah.
I mean, CP3 is better than Conley, just not MVP. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. What do I know? Mm-hmm. I don't even watch basketball. It'll be interesting to see.
We just sit on the couch, eat bonbons, and watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake.
Look at Coach Lovren coming in here and dropping truth bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Kyle Lowry, Kyrie, Mike Conley, and Westbrook. Also, OKC Thunder is a cursed franchise. Kyle Lowry or Russell Westbrook? Kyle Lowry. Kyrie or Russell Westbrook?
God.
Injuries.
Kyrie's won, though. He's hit big shots in the postseason. Like, he's been there.
Mike Conley or Russell Westbrook? Man, that's close. I think I'm taking Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, and I know that's not going to probably go over well. That probably will not go over well. Make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Hey, don't forget the contest we're going to... I guess we're running already.
Yeah.
We got to tell you about how Jake got scammed by Walmart out of a
Scam Newton
out of a Sony PlayStation 5. But we're going to give away a Sony PlayStation on this show. As soon as we get to 750 subscribers, all you're going to have to do is, take a picture that shows us your YouTube pages, subscribe to ours, tag us on Twitter, The Monty Show, Monty The Monty Show, and SLC Supercars. Post it on Twitter or post it on Instagram. Our names are the same, SLC Supercars for Jake, The Monty Show for moi. Post it on Twitter or Instagram and you're entered to win. If you've already done that, you're in. You don't have to do it again. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're going to give this away at $7.50. We are at $5.95 right now. So as we get closer and closer, we're going to ramp this up a little more. So the more subscribers, the better. Dame always chokes during the playoffs in an injury project, Raul Reyes says. Okay. Best Nightmare says, well, Clarkson's mentor was Kobe, so I don't think he taught him how to pass. Probably not.
Nope.
Although at the end of his career, Kobe was an incredible facilitator. Real quick before we get out of here, Tucker Carlson or PlayStation 5?
PlayStation 5, dude. This is amazing.
So, we have been watching for PlayStation 5s to be available because we're going to buy one and give it away on the show.
Yeah.
So then you went to Walmart.com.
Yeah,
And
I go to Walmart.com. Well, firstly, I just do a Google search for, PlayStation 5 for sale, right? Just to see what comes up.
Right.
Walmart rolls out hey, we've got a bundle for a PlayStation 5 that comes with a game.
Okay.
Okay, great. We're in business. Okay. I get to the site, put the address in, get the order dialed up. Everything's awesome. Apple Card denies it a couple times for security purposes. So I get that worked out. On the third try, order goes through, process, bada boom, bada bing, we're awesome.
Okay.
Couple days later, well, not a couple days, like a day later, I get the confirmation email.
Okay.
Confirmation email says, hey, we got your order, confirmed.
Okay.
It'll be here on the 18th. Everything's awesome.
Okay.
So then yesterday, I get another email saying, hey, your order shipped. They tell you, hey, it's shipped. Now it's on the way.
Okay.
Here's the issue. In that shipped email, it said PlayStation 4 Slim 1 terabyte, not a PlayStation 5. So I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go. What are we doing? So what do? After the show yesterday, I get on the phone with Walmart. The lady from Walmart is like, yeah, this happens from time to time. It's a known issue where our third-party distributors will run Google ads to say that they have stock. We'll process the order, and then they don't have the stock, so they'll send you something else. I had never heard of this before. Like, I knew that companies like obviously run Google ads. But I didn't know that it was possible for you to order something and then the company just sends you something completely different.
Hey, I want a PlayStation 5. Okay, cool. Here's a bag of mascara for your eyelashes.
Yeah, like, what the hell, dude? Like, what are we doing? So I'm on the phone with the Walmart lady. I'm like, hey, so do I get store credit? Do I get, like what do I get? No, you get nothing. We'll put you on the email list for when the PlayStation 5 gets restocked.
Can we cancel it?
Thanks, bro.
No.
Thanks,
Can
bro.
we return it? No. Am I out of luck? Yes. Should I keep shopping at Walmart? No. Is there a reason I don't shop at Walmart? Yes. And this is it. I think this sucks bad.
Yeah.
I think PlayStation 5s are one of the most in-demand, tough-to-get items. So when you bait and switch a into a PlayStation Slim like your mom, this is a complete scam.
Yeah.
And I knew that because I do a lot with Google. So I knew that they allowed third-party vendors to advertise on major brands.
Yeah.
That's an ad category you can buy with Google.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, place my ad at Best Buy. I'm selling broken PlayStations with no hard drives. Place my ad on Walmart, right? Like that's Google allows you to do that. The issue is that Walmart knows it's happening and is not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that as Angry Vic says, that's what really pisses me off. Like, if you know it's happening, why are you not doing something about it? And when I call you to say, hey, Dick, why are you bait and switching me? And they're like, not our problem, idiot.
Hello, we're not available now.
Right? No, idiot. Like, to me, that's the worst part of this.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing nothing to fix it. So now we're doing this giveaway. We definitely, without a doubt, have a PlayStation 4 Slim 1 terabyte, which, by the way, I'd just like to say, that's a pretty badass console on its own, but it's definitely not a PlayStation 5.
We're giving away a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, so now we got to figure out how we're going to procure a PlayStation 5.
I much prefer Xbox. It's stupid to even be giving away a PlayStation 5. All right, Stan, well then we'll just we'll make sure that you're not in the drawing. Okay, so wait, you prefer Xbox. So that's all we should give away. Even though we just gave away an Xbox on this show Saturday. We delivered it Saturday, gave it away last Thursday. Like, it's a free gift. Take it and say thank you.
And we were saying that.
Right? Like, what are you talking about? Now, here's the question, and this is a big question on this show. Mick says, this is why I only shop at Target. Who's the idiot who went to Walmart? That guy.
Was availability. What do you want
That
from
guy,
me, dude?
right
I'm trying
there.
to find a product.
This idiot
What do
over
you
here.
want from me? Do you
His
want
name is Jake.
here? Since I'm such a moron, would you want me to just say, "Well, we're not doing the giveaway. Here's a hoodie, and you can just move on with your life."
Hey, you idiot!
Yeah, you jackwagon.
You are what you are.
I mean, come on, bro.
That's hysterical. Coach Loverin says, Stan, you get a GameCube. Exactly
Yeah,
right.
you want a Game Boy?
What's that white brick that we have sitting upstairs for Mario Kart? Why can I?
Wii.
A Nintendo Wii. I love Mario Kart. Please make it for PlayStation or Xbox. Yeah, I come on. Like, I love that people like, hey, can we pick our size? No, it's going to be a 2X sweatshirt. Right? If that doesn't fit, eat some more fettuccine. What do you want from me? The point is, fat ass, that we're giving away a place. Oh, that's the pot calling the kettle Crisco. But anyway, the point is, that's why I don't shop at Walmart.
Yeah,
Because
it's frustrating.
You cannot buy with integrity at Walmart. You can't, or confidence. You have no idea that if you buy at Walmart.com. Now, fortunately, I actually bought the Xbox S Series, Series S, excuse me, on Walmart.com and did fine. I did not know I was buying it at Walmart.com. So I, like you, wound up buying it through, there's a Twitter account called Soul Links.
Yeah.
And it was actually fulfilled by Walmart through another vendor.
Yeah.
So it's just all convoluted. We're giving away a PlayStation on this show. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Real quick, can we end with Tucker Carlson, please?
Yes.
Get ready for the audio. All right. So if you've watched this show at all. Give me, in the YouTube comments, give us a thumbs up. It really helps this show grow. Hit like. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. And then comment on whether or not you like and watch Tucker Carlson. So Tucker Carlson, last week, just kind of out of the blue, started ripping vaccines on his show, and it went a little something like this.
You see the President of the United States wearing a mask outside. You see his Vice President doing the same thing. You see the guy in charge of coronavirus response, the one you just saw, telling us that, again, after you've had the vaccine, you must remain under the restrictions. So we're asking a question that is rooted in science, which is why? If this stuff works, why can't you live like it works? What are you really telling us here? And by the way, this, again, is not a trick question. We're not playing word games here. What's the answer? If the coronavirus vaccine prevents you from catching the coronavirus, why are you wearing a mask?
Because, idiot, it doesn't prevent you. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting coronavirus. And here's the worst part. Tucker Carlson knows this. He knows this. Nobody has ever said that the vaccine prevents you from getting coronavirus.
The coronavirus.
Why do we wear masks? Because that helps you limit your exposure and dramatically reduces the percentage of you getting coronavirus. So Tucker knows this. This is stock and trade for Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson asks questions that he knows the answer to. But since he said such foolish things, the other thing he said last week was that, 30 people a day in this country die after they get the vaccine. No evidence. Right there he said, everything we do here, we're based in science. We're just asking questions. You're not asking questions, Dick. What you're doing is playing to the brand.
Stoking the fire.
That's what Tucker Carlson's doing.
Yeah.
Science is very plainly clear here. Vaccines do not prevent you from getting the virus. That what they do is they make it so that if you do get the virus, your reaction to that and the damage that the coronavirus does is dramatically mitigated, reduced, almost eliminated. That's what the coronavirus vaccines do. Some better than others, right? Mm-hmm. Wearing a mask has never been about preventing you from, having any of the nonsense that he said there. Wearing a mask is about reducing your percentage of getting a coronavirus. You put a vaccine and a mask together, and all of a sudden now your chances of getting coronavirus or having a serious reaction to it are dramatically lessened. He knows this. So here's my question. Many, and it's dozens at this point, of media outlets have now asked Tucker Carlson, have you gotten the vaccine? Tucker Carlson's refusing to answer the question.
Obviously not.
Because much like Donald Trump, who got the vaccine without telling anyone, in the last hours of his presidency, getting the vaccine goes against Donald Trump's brand.
View this the same as the flu.
Getting the vaccine goes against Tucker Carlson's brand. So Tucker Carlson can't come out and say, yes, I got the vaccine. You should get the vaccine too. Because that's not the fire and brimstone. That's not stop the steal. That's not, hey, white is right. That's not stop black people from voting. That's not stop the, rapists and criminals from coming over the border. That's not all of this nationalism, racist, anti-American rhetoric that Tucker Carlson, Fox News, and Donald Trump have perpetuated. Mm-hmm. So no, of course he's not going to answer the question of did he get the vaccine, because my guess is as a white, privileged, incredibly wealthy celebrity in this country, Tucker Carlson has had the vaccine for some time.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yep.
I could be wrong. Let's see. Tanner Plummer says Fox News is fake news. They have nothing else to talk about ever since the Tangerine Twitter machine got kicked out of office.
I'm not a big fan of Fox.
The Tangerine Twitter machine.
That's pretty good, bro. I'll give that guy credit. That's pretty good.
Tanner, congratulations. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. We were going to give you something, but that's an amazing line.
Yeah.
SLC P Shooter says Carlson is a bot. His whole gig is just playing to the crowd. He gets maximum viewership because his diehards love it and his detractors blow their fuses.
Well, and it's kind of what
Probably.
Trump played to as well, right? With the rallies. I mean, that's the only reason he's doing rallies. Is because the people who follow this stuff really get into it and get fired up and it's crazy, man. It's honestly crazy.
Yeah. And Barry on Twitter.
Whoa,
not that Barry.
Oh, different Barry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Barry says, do you guys realize how many people just turned off your show? You talk about our former president in negative language like that. Do you expect people to watch? Well, I don't know how to make you understand this. And by the way, he launched his own social media channel last week. Anybody heard a thing about it? By the way, Republicans are now distancing themselves from Donald Trump, unless you're Kevin McCarthy, are distancing themselves from Donald Trump. And why are they doing that? Oh, that's right. The midterm elections are coming up next year. That's right. So they don't want to be associated with Donald Trump.
Got to keep our seats.
Don't want to be associated with Donald Trump. So you can say that a bunch of people are turning the show off. Okay, and I would go this far. Look, if what I said about Donald Trump bothers you, okay, maybe this isn't the show for you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm sure Stick to Sports guy's coming any minute now. But I'm just telling you that if the truth doesn't set you free, maybe this isn't the show for you. I mean, I don't know. Euros Petrovic says, I tune in just for the politics and the Jazz shit talking. Keep keeping it real, Monty. It's what we do here. Josh Lovren says, oh, dingle. Marty says, shut up. Are you talking to me or to Barry? You know, I don't know. Shelter 1988 says Trumpism will destroy America, in my opinion. I think what we learned over the previous 4 years is that there are people who will do anything for their party. And what we've figured out is that being Republican is more important than being American.
Correct.
And I think that that's where the real problem comes in.
Yeah.
And it's why you can't just, and I say this all the time, because Mace is saying that all I do is watch CNN. I've said this 1,000 times on this show. You can't just watch CNN. You can't just watch Fox News. You can't just watch MSNBC. Because again, I will say, if you are getting one opinion, you are not getting an opinion.
Yeah.
Right? You're getting rhetoric. You need to digest information, and you need to have diverging opinions, and then form your own opinion. Right? If you don't want to hear what conservatives have to say, if you don't want to hear what liberals have to say, you're just not well-rounded. You're not educated. And I'll say again, we've gotten to a place in this country where we're unable to have diverging opinions because you're an idiot and I'm a jerk and all I do is watch CNN and we don't go to Jazz games. Okay.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, that's what's wrong with America right there.
We don't go
it's
to
amazing.
Jazz games.
Tanner Plummer says, Barry, Darth Tax Evader is the worst president ever. Yes, Darth Tax Evader.
Darth Tax Evader. That's
the
amazing.
Tangerine Twitter machine and Darth Tax Evader. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what happens. You know, we'll see where guys like Matt Gaetz ends up, or where people like Kevin McCarthy end up. Like the midterms are going to be crucial.
Yeah,
because we've got to get to a point where we stop blaming everything that happens in this country, including bad weather, on Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah,
and we have to figure out how to work together because the division in this country has never been stronger. The coronavirus and the mask wearing thing and the vaccine thing is the perfect example of that.
Yep.
I mean, you have a president who's telling you that the coronavirus is nothing more than the flu. You have Tucker Carlson telling you that the Wuhan flu and the vaccines and the masks and, oh, by the way, then they're both getting vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, why are they getting vaccinated if they're telling us that? Oh, because QAnon told them to.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work out, by the way? Like, are you serious? Like this morning, the story is the cops who killed or played a role in attacking the Capitol Police officer that died of massive strokes are now denied bail. And immediately on Twitter, people are attacking them. Oh, they're taking away their rights. They're not. They're not taking away their rights.
Yeah.
Right? It's the judicial system. Anyway, as it is. I just... No, I'll stop. No, nothing else to say. Nothing else to say.
Okay.
Suns or Warriors tonight?
Suns.
You're taking the Suns.
Yeah, taking the Suns in a close one.
All right. And your percentage that the Jazz are going to win a championship is what?
40%.
I think it's 26.3987.
Okay.
Rounded up.
Okay.
To 25%.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not confident. My confidence level is not high.
Hey, man, if the Lakers are the 8th seed, we could be having a very sad discussion early in the postseason.
Fuck, if they go out in the first round again,
it's over, bro.
Excuse my French. I'm trying not to curse on the show. We get it.
Don't try. Just don't
if
do it,
the
right?
Jazz go out in the first round again, I mean, are you bringing Quinn Snyder back?
I think there will be a reckoning.
Yeah. $205 million worth of a reckoning.
Yeah.
Play the music, Jake. Make sure you hit subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up on this show. Our live streams have been incredible. We really appreciate you guys watching the show. A thumbs up, that means hit the thumbs up, the like button. It helps the show grow. We are rapidly approaching 600 subscribers, so we really appreciate that. And again, when we get to 750, we're going to give away a PlayStation and a sweatshirt from our clothing line that we'll talk a lot more about next week on this show. So please give us a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe. Until tomorrow... Which one do I go with? Say, have a good day, Tangerine Twitter machine.
Have a good day, Tangerine Twitter machine.